Hey everybody, it's the Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and in this episode of the Typical Manga Review, we're going to be going over Naruto, chapter 700 plus 6, Without Evolution. And we open up with Sasuke going up against the big eyeball man.
And then there's like a caption that I'm reading that says, Uchiha versus Uchiha, and I'm just thinking to myself, how is that new?
That's all things been about Uchiha versus Uchiha.
I'm so sick of Uchihas. This is ridiculous. I said this last time, but I'm going to say it again. I am so sick of them. Can we just concentrate on another clan, please?
Well, in fairness, since this is about Sarada and Sasuke, the Uchiha at least should have a place in there somewhere, but I still think you're right. There should at least be a new enemy of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's about Salad, you know, even if it's about her, can we just have a not Uchiha villain, please?
Yep.
Anyway, so he attacks Sasuke, you know, and I asked myself, why couldn't he just chop off Sasuke's head? But I guess that's asking too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, his arm is all like Danzo. You see Sharingans all over his arm.
Yep.
And
anyway, like the first part of the fight, Sasuke attacks him, but the guy grabs his sword. But then Sasuke seems to make himself switch places with one of the little copper kids.
Yeah, he used the Rinnegan.
Okay.
Which he just revealed again this chapter for the first time since the end of Naruto. And I remember he did use that technique. Remember when Sakura was trying to save him from that acid world, or not the acid world, from from that other dimension,
yep.
And he had to switch places with like her clothing or whatever, or something like that, or his clothing or whatever. He had to switch places, and yeah, this is the same technique that he used.
Right, and the big man survives Sasuke's follow-up, a big old fireball, by throwing one of his copper kid right behind him to take the blow for him.
Yeah, obviously this guy doesn't give a shit about his followers.
Which we'll see in just a bit, yeah. Assuming that is his kid, which we'll be getting into here in a bit.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, we see them basically lay on the ground, and you know, Sasuke and Naruto form back up, you know, in front of Salad.
Yeah.
And
she's amazed, and Naruto talks Sasuke up a little bit for her.
Yeah, I would never do that. Even
if
I know. I'm saying even in his position, I would never do that. I think this guy's too much of an asshole to do that.
Well, it's still her father. You gotta at least try. Sasuke is at least, once he realized what's going on, at least seems to be a bit remorseful about this. But
that brings me into another question then. Why is Naruto the one trying and not Sasuke?
Well, they are fighting right now, to be fair.
Exactly. Then that still applies to Naruto, because he's doing exactly what Sasuke is doing, but whatever.
Well, you know, he's like the guy mentioned that our big man here talked to Sasuke about ocular powers, and he'd love to have that for Akatsuki's revival. They're wondering if that means what they think it means, and they'll find out soon enough. And the big man introduced himself as Uchiha Shin, the same as the Copper Kid.
So I'm assuming they're all clones, and this guy's just probably further along the growth line.
Potentially. I mean, at the very least, Sarada notes the same name, so she knows that there's something going on here. And she mentioned the same thing to Naruto, where the Copper Kid called him his father. Meanwhile, Cho-Cho's just wondering when this is all going to be over, so she can get back to what she was doing.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're just not attacking her to like a hostage situation.
Of course, Naruto's pissed off at this because it means that, as far as they know, that means that pretty much he used his own kid as a human shield. So Sasuke tells Naruto to protect the kids, and he'll take care of the actual fighting.
Yep. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Sasuke's sword stabs Naruto. Damn it, Sasuke!
You know, even now, I don't know. I know it's obviously not intentional, but Sasuke's just a terrible character that I don't care even if it's intentional. I'll still blame him.
Yeah, I do like how Naruto's just sitting there like, look at that. Well, that's a bitch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of reminds me of there's a lot of situations in anime and manga where you have that type of that stab and out of nowhere situation. But I mean, obviously he says he'll be fine, and we have to remember that he has regenerative abilities, especially in that state.
I'm just liking Naruto's just non-reaction to that. Like.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that was a shock. First off, he does have a reaction afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's just like that one panel of it.
And it's because he can, the Uchiha Shin, the big one, can use he can manipulate weapons freely using his Sharingan, and he put some kind of mark on Sasuke's katana, which allows him to, I guess, control it, which is another bullshit Sharingan ability. So literally, when was the last time the Sharingan was used to copy a jutsu? The original Inception ability that
is kind of the whole original idea of it, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, does that what Kakashi and teaching him the Chidori make it count?
All those Sharingan did for Kakashi was make sure he didn't have tunnel vision.
Well, I just mean like when he taught it to Sasuke.
I don't remember if the Sharingan was used specifically. The reason why the Sharingan was so important with Chidori is because Chidori gives you tunnel vision, and it's you need the Sharingan to do it. Otherwise, it'd be completely useless. Like Kakashi now has no Sharingan, right? He can't use Raikiri anymore because otherwise he'd be completely open.
Right.
That was a problem with the jutsu. The Sharingan was needed not to copy it from Kakashi, but just simply for the jutsu itself.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, in this case, the Sharingan was introduced as an ability that can copy other jutsus, and then suddenly it hasn't been used.
It does
for that,
everything else.
It's been doing everything else, which is what I don't like about it. It's just overpowering. It's to a point where I feel like. I don't know. Kishimoto seems to have an eye thing, and he does it with the Byakugan. And the Byakugan was it was first introduced as something. He's been consistent with the Byakugan.
I'm about to say, yeah. Even the Byakugan stayed consistent about giving wide range of vision and some degree of X-ray vision.
From what I heard in the last the Naruto, the last movie, from what I heard that the villain who uses the Byakugan does other shit too. And same thing with Kaguya. She had the Byakugan, but she did other shit with stuff, And then, of course, the Rinnegan, which was always an overpowering ability. It's just that it seems to me that he has this thing with eyes, and I don't like it because it doesn't really. It just feels so. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, when you point it out like that, I mean, you're right. I mean, that's the Sharingan is very inconsistent. It's supposed to have one specific main ability. And even evolved, at least you can see an expansion on the powers. But even then,
he expanded on it. He said, "Oh, it can mesmerize you because it can read muscle movements and read your mouth movements, so it can trick you, and it can even cast illusions." But when you do stuff like controlling weapons or like space time, jutsus or other bullshit, it just gets ridiculous.
In that regard, the way I'm kind of taking is that when you get to the Mangekyo level, then you start getting unique abilities to the person. Like Kobe got the space time, this guy's got the weapons, but at the same time, you're right. I mean, it's still inconsistent. It still gives the Sharingan overpowering.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like the Mangekyo Sharingan was always in itself was like a little overpowering. But the problem with the Mangekyo was that it gave not random abilities. Like you have space time, and then you had whatever Itachi had. I forgot what he did. Amaterasu. Then you had a summoning jutsu. Like you can summon a gigantic. I forgot. It starts with an S, but
not the snake, because that was Orochimaru.
Susanoo. Yeah, it does 3 different things that have no relationship to each other.
Well, no, the names have relationships to each other.
Well, the names, but the actual abilities was kind of like you can summon something, you can create fire, and you can do space time. I mean, what can that's like everything.
Yep.
And then of course it can turn into the Rinnegan, and that's just bullshit even more.
Yep. And moving along, though, as like I said, Shinya here, he's got them pretty much like he attacks, but he attacks Sarada, but Sasuke takes the blow for her, and now he's gonna try and pull a Dio Brando and send a bunch of knives flying at them. Which, if you don't know what that means, just wait another episode of JoJo and you'll see what I'm talking about. But before I can go any further, Sakura, Sokka among socks, does something useful and appears just in time to punch him out.
Yeah. Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I do wonder now, has Sarada ever actually seen her in any kind of battle? Probably not, but still.
Well, she did destroy a house right in front of her, so I'm assuming she's at least
inadvertently.
Yeah, but I'm assuming she at least can infer that Sakura can actually fight, considering that Sarada has a brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she comes in and the guy basically took it like full force. I mean, he's in love of her right now.
Yep. And Kurama, or the Fox Buddy, he pretty much gets on Naruto's case for having gotten soft during the peaceful times.
Well, that's pretty true, though. By the way, I like he's trying to grab Shin, who's on the ground. You can look at his eyes just like up. Like is he knocked out? I think he's knocked out. Yeah.
Yeah. He's grabbing Shinya and Shunya.
Yeah, because he's what those eyes that what they call those eyes go up to show that you're unconscious.
Like when they roll up, you mean?
Yeah, then when they roll up, yeah. I don't know.
Of course.
It's just funny. I find
The next panel here is something that kind of takes me off with Sakura. I forget what it says like on the manga stream ones, but in the English version, she's like, "Sorry, I thought I'd made things clear to Sarada." Bullshit.
Yeah, she basically says in the manga stream version, she said, "I meant to sit you down and have an earnest heart to heart with you."
That's better.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, she's admitting like, "Okay, I probably should have done this." Here, she's acting like she thought she'd already done it. Like, no, you have not. You've not done anything of the sort.
Yeah, I'm assuming that since Viz is done by professionals, that the one that Viz did is more accurate, though. So
I don't know that, or it might be one of those very contextual things that maybe that just got somewhere along the line that could easily get misunderstood. But
whatever,
still.
Sakura still sucks.
Yeah. Of course, Sasuke, he's the one at fault here because, like I said, he can't really explain things here. But it seems that they're actually having a small tender moment here. Of course, then Senior screws it up. His little lizard eyeball thing shows up and says, "We'll just take her along," and all three of them vanish in space-time portals.
Something tells me that he's like the actual true villain. Because Uchiha Shin, I feel like Uchiha Shin and the both Shins, the big one, small one, I feel like they're just the puppets to this little tiny animal thing, Majig.
I could see that.
Yeah, because the way he says like I'll be taking these, he says with confidence, and the fact that he's he seems to be like watching from the sidelines. So something tells me that because the thing is, this guy for a final villain is even for an epilogue story, he's just too easy to be taken down, which makes me infers that maybe this is the guy, the little animal is like the real villain.
Yeah.
And of course they take Sakura too.
Yep.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, it's like she's up in what looks to be the lab, like, and the two Shins are there as well. Meanwhile, Cho-Cho apparently has not even been aware there's even been a fight going on because she walks out wondering if they've made up yet.
Yeah, I also have to point out they're being surrounded by like 5 other Shins. So there's Shins obviously. So it's obviously like
not necessarily because I'll show you here in a couple pages, but so Sasuke's wondering about what just happened on there, and Naruto's like, it's just like Kurama said, we got beat because we got rusty.
Yeah, actually, Actually, I forgot. They did actually already mention that there were more Shins in the previous chapter. I totally forgot about that. Yeah,
and then the reason I bring it to those, like in the last page, first of all, look at the very center panel. You'll see some Shins behind Sakura.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just want to point out because I forgot that they were actually more Shins. So, but yeah, obviously this big Shin here is the more important Shin, but the other Shins are like expendable, from what I can tell.
Not really, because given what we're about to hear here, because like Sakura's hearing him say that they want her to do some kind of transplant surgery, but without the organ, the child will, like, that's right, you're a medic ninja too, but it's your fault. We're in this situation, you know. Well, you were trying to kill my husband and child and a friend. Then why do you care about my brat? And Sakura's just like, are you really asking me that question?
Well, no. So it just proves my point that they are expendable, other than the big one.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were saying like the one little Shin was not expendable, but you mean it's just like
no, the little Shins are expendable.
Senior himself is the one who's expendable, not expendable.
Yeah, it's the other way around, man. It was the small ones that are not, or that are expendable because obviously they're supporting the big guy, and something special about the big one. The fact that maybe he has more Sharingans, the fact that maybe he's different in some way.
Or
he does share the
like
same name.
The lead one there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he shares the same name, so I really would like to know how these guys were created and what makes him different. Was he just the oldest one, and therefore, or whatever?
It's possible. I like your idea about the lizard thing being the actual leader of this in some way, or at least being connected to the actual leader.
Well, I mean, this guy's not doing that good of a job.
Not really.
But okay, so so we have all that summarization up.
Well, there is one thing I think we actually ended up skipping over: the guy's speech. The one about how people evolve in war and in fighting.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah, here we go. Like, there's a little thing on there. It's like peace keeps humans from evolving, just like it has with you two.
Oh yeah, because that was bullshit as always.
Yeah. Just like a little faux Darwinism.
I mean, it's just. I have to remind myself. It reminded me of a game called Metal Gear Rising, where this timeless peace, and this guy named Sundowner comes up and he literally wants to cause a war because he says that peacetime is literally no fun. It's just like what?
Kind of like the Helsing Nazis.
Oh yeah, it was just like there's some people out there who literally who literally just don't want peace, who just literally want to watch the world burn, and I just feel like this is the type of guy. I mean, he can come up with this whole bullshit about evolution theory thing, but the fact is, he just to me, it's not compelling. Not compelling of a villain. But anyway, so now I have basically one major gripe with this chapter, and as much as sorry, I have one major gripe with this chapter. And the reason why I didn't particularly enjoy this chapter, as you can tell from me just nonchalantly making comments, is because as much as I make fun of Sakura, I do want her to be a little more important and not, I don't know, the damsel in distress. Because you know what? By the end of this chapter, she is the damsel in distress. She supposedly comes to the rescue for like the first panel that she appears in. But she in the end, she gets kidnapped. In the end, she's forced to help them out. And of course, it's gonna be Naruto and Sasuke, and as well as the other two kids who have to save her. I mean, seriously, this is the epilogue story. This is when Sakura and Sasuke, and specifically Sakura though, is already at her her prime. She's developed completely as a ninja warrior. She's like at her peak, at her very peak. And in the end, she doesn't do anything. She doesn't do anything as big as Naruto or Sasuke. And I'm just thinking to myself, it's so sad because she could at the very beginning. I get that she was a big, she was a big bitch at the very beginning of the story. But guess what? But the thing is though, like. She was a kid, exactly. She was a kid, and when you develop characters, you got to start off, obviously a little down, not very early in the growth system. But it's just now that she's developed. First off, as she was developing, it was really bad. But now that this is the final product, really?
Yep.
I mean,
well, bear in mind, there's still four. There's supposed to be 10 chapters long, so there's 4 chapters for this to kind of pick up or change direction. But Kishimoto's track record does not look as encouraging.
And that brings another question too. It seems to me that Kishimoto didn't even learn from everyone's. It's like he doesn't know that everyone. I'm sure he knows. I mean, I'm sure people speak their mind about it. That people had a problem with Sakura's character development, and it seems to me that either he didn't learn about it, like he didn't learn from it, or he didn't learn about it. And I'm a little annoyed because when you have when you destroy a character like this, from the early stages of development to now, and you just have a terrible, let her be defined by Sasuke, and basically have her literally be the girl who has a crush on this one guy and couldn't get over him. And he tried to force the issue by making her super powerful. But in the end, what do we have? Despite all that, she's captured and she can't do anything about it. Exactly, she has super strength. She's surrounded by like 6 little. I mean, I guess they might be a little trouble for her. But remember, these guys couldn't take on Sasuke or Naruto. I'm sure she can at least cause some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, even if she can't necessarily win, I mean, or if they got her at an advantage right now because they got her surrounded, I mean, she could do something.
Because I mean, if you think about it. She's going to help the guy get healthier and be in more of a better position to kidnap Salad again. So it just seems to me that what a mom would have done was just be like, screw you, I'm going to kill everyone even if I get hurt.
Yep.
I don't know.
Right, so the only thing I can think of that might be an explanation here is like there's a TV trope page. It's called Americans Hate Tingle, which is like when a character that might be popular in one country is very unpopular elsewhere, and Sasuke and Sakura are both listed in there. Sasuke popular in Japan, but more divisive in the U.S.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. As I said before, I'm not a mangaka, so obviously I don't have to go through a lot of the issues of being a mangaka. Yeah. But at the same time, I think I have the right to sit down in front of Kishimoto. Well, I mean, if I could, I would. But if I would sit down in front of Kishimoto and I would bitch him out about how he's treated Sakura because it's bad. Yeah. And I don't. If not me, then why not someone who's closer? Why not his editor? Why not a fan from Japan? Why not anyone who can actually do anything? Because I'm sure he's shut out.
That's what I'm getting at here. Like, it may not be as big a deal in how he's characterized in Japan as it is to us here in the States. Because essentially, he regularly features in the top 12 characters in series popularity polls.
Then all I have to say is something's wrong with Japan. Their treatment of women, actually, first off, I think their treatment of women is a little bad. It's not that good as the United States, to be honest.
It is a bit behind the times in a lot of cases. Even One Piece, like right now with the current arc, is pretty bad about it too.
Yeah, but and especially with that whole the perfect wife is a Yamato Nadeshiko, which is basically like your obedient housewife, and the people call her a tsundere, but I don't think she's a tsundere because the people she's sun and dere to are not the same. She's sun only to Naruto and she's dere only to Sasuke. There is no other way around. So she's that first off, that's just being a bitch, right? Yeah. She can't be a tsundere because she's not even sun and dere to the same person.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if it was like one person specifically affecting the Shun or the Dere, then that'd be, and she was the same as everybody else, that'd be fine. But you're right
Yeah,
about
so
that.
yeah, but even if she is a tsundere, that's just another way to say bitch.
Yeah, true. I've never
It's
been
just
particularly fond of that character type in a lot of cases.
well, that's the thing though. Like I don't understand. Like I remember correctly. Japan was pro Sakura over pro Hinata. So it was just like, and I remember talking on Twitter, just like, what is wrong with Japan? And everyone agreed with me. It seemed like there was a whole distinction between America versus Japan, and it seemed like Japan just didn't I just personally think that they don't understand, that that's what it takes to make a good female character versus us. We do, because we have a better treatment of females, not perfect but better,
Yeah.
and we understand what it takes to make a better female character versus Japan, who's probably just used to either the tsunderes or the Yamato Natashikos, in which case, I said this
Yeah.
about this long enough.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll wrap it up here because at this point we're just gonna get into ranting. We've just been ranting about Sakura this whole time. And like I said, I'm hoping there's enough space in the next few chapters, to maybe turn this around, maybe give Sakura some chance to redeem what's going on here. So I always thought this is one of the things where I take the time will tell approach, at least until it looks without a doubt if something's going to be different here.
But it's kind of like the original series where even though she did have the final punch, because remember she did have the final hit along with the other two in defeating Kaguya, it didn't like block from the fact that she was not that good before that. So even if in the end she gets she gets a hit on the guy that
Right.
ultimately defeats him, it doesn't change that this is how it started or this is what is leading to that moment.
Right.
And regardless, she is still a damsel in distress, and she's still being used for the enemy against the. It's just there's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing that they can do after this point or from this point,
Yeah.
to help her. It's just the damage has been done.
Yeah. But that's what the next generation comes in. We can put all our hopes on Sarada and see what happens there.
Yeah.
And hope Kishimoto doesn't screw that up.
She's an Uchiha. He's probably gonna favor her anyway.
True. And she's got eyeballs.
Yeah, it's two things for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no, she's got four because he wears glasses. Anyway, like I said, we're running a bit long on this, so go ahead and take us away here.
Bye.
Bye.